Well, planting season is here, and what's top of mind for many Hoosier farmers is how they're going to get into their fields. Tractors and other machines keep getting bigger and bigger, but there's not enough money to widen roads to make room for them. Brock Turner has more on the dilemma local governments face when deciding how to allocate limited road funding.
Eric Scheller has been waiting all winter to get his crop in the ground. He farms several hundred acres of corn and soybeans in Vanderburgh County. As his acreage has increased, so has the size of his equipment. This tractor has a set of duals, which helps him pull a new 12-row planter. It covers twice as much ground as his old one.
In the last 50 years, machinery has gotten bigger, and in the last 10 years, we've seen a huge increase in size of machinery, what it takes out here to do the job. We're less and less farmers and growers out here in the country, so it takes a lot more to get across the same acres that we're trying to feed the world with.
Scheller says fewer farmers means more stress trying to get crops in and harvested, all while ensuring they're taken care of in the field. But as he makes those final preparations to enter his fields this spring, there's a separate stress that's taking up a big place in his mind: getting there on the narrow county roads.
It's equal parts anymore. The stress that we're under to get the crop planted, produced, and to market is as big of a part as moving around on the roads. There's a lot more liability on our part from moving around on the roads in today's society. People are not very patient with us because a lot of people are removed from agriculture.
Scheller says while his equipment has gotten wider and larger, the roads haven't changed. And on narrow roads like the ones that connect many of his fields, that creates a treacherous situation.
Yeah, moving around on the road is definitely a stressful task. If you meet somebody on a county road, it's to the point, the width of the machinery, that you have to stop, pull over, and let them pass you. And the roads need to be widened to a point.
However, widening those roads is easier said than done. Cheryl Musgrave is a Vanderburgh County commissioner. She says Scheller's concern is one she's heard from several farmers across the county. But there's not much she can do. Many of these roads were designed and built over 100 years ago.
I can only imagine that these roads were built maybe 1850 or thereabouts. I mean, in an 1850, I don't think that they had much concept of the realities that we face today. So, no, this is very much a modern problem. How do you adjust to the equipment that is being used in farming today versus what are the legacy roads that we've inherited?
Vanderburgh County only has about $3 million to spend on road projects each year. The county budgets $1 million per lane mile to rebuild an existing roadway. So they've largely ignored the needs because the money just isn't there. They'd rather fix potholes and resurface existing roads that more people use than build new in rural areas.
Maybe 4 or 5 cars a day that travel on the road, and of course the farm equipment doesn't travel on it very often, only certain months of the year perhaps. So it's a very lightly traveled road. Big ditches on either side of the road, so it's not like you could just scrape off a bit more dirt and pave it and make everybody happy.
Musgrave says it's that way in much of the state. Counties and local governments just don't have the funds they need. She's hopeful state and federal dollars will help, but doesn't see anything changing anytime soon.
Right now, I think you can say we look a lot like an ostrich with its head in the sand. Not a lot we can do with the funding that we have at present time.
Everyone agrees more dialogue might be able to chip away at the issue, but there's far from a consensus. John Stoll is the Vanderburgh County engineer. He's responsible for deciding which roads get funding and how much. He says there's a possibility of widening small sections of the narrowest county roads, but even he admits that's difficult.
It's trade-offs. You get complaints from the farm community due to the lack of the width, but likewise, if you pursue that option, then you turn around and get the complaints from the residents who are saying they need their subdivision roads addressed. With the funding being what it is, there's not enough to really pursue both.
Scheller understands the bind policymakers are in. He doesn't expect things to change overnight, but hopes more meaningful dialogue can eventually lead to results.
I think there's a lot of discussion needs to happen between now and then, that we need to sit down and have good, meaningful discussion between growers, landowners, and county commissioners to get the details worked out. But there needs to be some talk between the groups.
In the meantime, he'll have to continue to pull over for oncoming traffic. and navigate the narrow roads the best he can. He plans to travel up to 15 miles on these roads to reach his farthest field, and getting in a hurry is not an option. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.